Whack back to Dubsy Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego, and what a week it's been. Started off the week by destroying Jabba's palace, and this took the best part of 4 days. Now, I did record this on a time lapse, as you can see, and there is a reverse time lapse video on the channel, which makes it look like the palace is being created as opposed to being destroyed. And I think that came out really well, so it's well worthwhile a watch if you haven't already seen it. Next up, it was a case of tidying the Lego room, and as you can see, all that was left of Jabba's palace was a Sarlacc pit and a complete mess of pieces. All did, pushed it all into a box, cleared off the table, got the table out of the room, and then it was a case of reconstructing the tables. I've then brought the buildings back into the Lego room and placed them roughly where I think they're going to be going into the city. Next up, put some base plates down on the table, got the train track out of the set that we purchased a couple of months ago and set where I think it's going to be going. Now I am going to make the train track an elevator train line, and I want it to be elevated roughly to the height of the arches on the far station there. Now over on the back of the table, this is going to be a raised area. On the ground level there's going to be some shops, restaurants and the iceberg lounge, and on top of the platform will be the train station. And above that, I want to have the skyscrapers. This is one area I want to be a real focal point of the city. Now, I love all of the buildings that I've made so far for the city. However, I am beginning to wonder if some of them are an appropriate scale for the city. As you can see, I've placed a couple of Lego sets on the table here. We've got the Sanctum and the Daily Bugle. And comparing them to the buildings that I've created, they're looking so small. Now, the size of this table it's enabled me to have 84 32 by 32 base plates on there. So I need to make sure that I utilise all of the space carefully. The way I'm building at the moment, I don't think I'm going to be able to fit that many buildings into the city. So I think I need to learn how to build smaller and more compact buildings. Now I do have a few of the modular sets I can practice with, such as the boutique hotel, the corner garage, the bookshop and the downtown diner. So I think it's going to be worth my while to spend the next couple of weeks building those sets in my spare time, placing them in city just to help me with the scale of things, and then I can replace those sets one at a time with my own creations. Now, all of the buildings I have made so far are in a part complete state. There's not one building in this city that is finished as of yet. Now, the first building I made was going to be the GCPD, which was fashioned on the Flatiron building. However, since then, I've decided that I don't want that to be the GCPD and we're going to make it something else. Now, I am going to add a couple more floors onto the building, but I'm also wondering whether it would look better if I was using the tan and dark tan bricks as opposed to the light bluish and dark bluish grey. It might just add a little bit more variety to the city. So that's one thing I just need to have a little bit of a think about before we build any more floors on there. Now, the new GCPD building, this is probably my favourite building so far. I love the dark pearl ingots on the building. I'm really looking forward to getting this building all finished off. I just need to get the arches in so I can get this building all finished. But I need to also work out what I'm going to be doing with the back of the building. Now, the fire station next to the GPCD is looking way too big to me. Now, I'm not concerned about the width or the height of the building, it's the depth of the building that is looking way too big. I built it thinking that was how big it needed to be to house a fire engine. However, it looks completely out of scale with everything else, and I think I need to shrink it by about 12 studs. At present, it's taken up an entire 48 by 48 base plate. Now, depending on what I do with this building will help determine what I'm going to do with the GCPD, as I want them next to each other, so I need to make sure the backs of these buildings look right. Now, the docks, I did initially, when I brought the docks into the room, had it facing the wall. However, it meant you couldn't see the details of the cranes or the front of the buildings, and they're the best parts of that build. So I've rotated around by 90 degrees, so it's now facing Arkham Asylum, and there are 3 base plates between Arkham and the docks. However, those 3 base plates are just going to be water, and it does feel like it's a little bit of a wasted area at the moment. So I just need to work out whether or not these are the best places to be having those buildings. I could move them to the other end of the table so that the water's facing out of the city, so to speak. So I just need to have a good think about that. Now, Arkham Asylum is another building that's taken so long just to get to this stage. I think it's about 9 weeks we spent on this building. And I'm loving the actual build itself. I'm just wondering if it needs to be on a slightly smaller island. Now, the good thing is, with the way that I've built Arkham Asylum, I could quite easily amend this, and it's just the actual island itself that I would need to change. So again, it's just something I'm going to have a think about further down the line. But I'm really excited cracking on with this city now we finally have the table all set up. We're ready to go. I'm probably going to leave the raised train line till a little bit later. There will be roads directly below the train line. I am wanting to make brick build roads so I can get a few more details added to the road lines. But you do need a lot of dark bluish grey bricks, which I don't currently have. So again, that's another reason for leaving that. Now, in my first ever YouTube video, back when I started making the Batcave, I said that I would be having an Avengers Tower in the city. And the city back then was multi-themed. Then following making the Batcave in Wayne Manor, I said I was going to be based in the city on Gotham. Now, I've been thinking a lot about this over the past couple of months, and I've been veering back towards making my original plan of having a multi-themed city. I just feel that it will enable me to be more creative and expressive with the bricks. Now, I'd love to make an Avengers Tower from scratch, a Sanctum Sanctorum and a Daily Bugle. If space permitted, a Malibu Mansion from Iron Man. I think all these builds will look so good being in the Lego City. And there are also so many Ninjago buildings that I think would look so cool. I think it would just add so much more fun to the city. I still keep the Gotham buildings such as Arkham, Ace Chemicals, the Iceberg Lounge. It would just be a case of adding other cool buildings to the city. Anyways, it's just a thought at the moment. I can carry on building a lot of the structures and buildings around the city in the meantime, as they're still going to be required regardless of the theme. But I just want to have a think about it, because I want to make sure that this city is the best and most enjoyable city that I can make, really. Now, next up is a trip to Dublin. I need to get a smaller table for the mock station. The table I've got at the moment, I'm only using about half of it, and the other half is a dumping ground. Don't think it needs to be that large. So I think, yeah, let's get a smaller table. And I also need to set a table up ready for Mandalore, which I'm planning on starting in about another week or so's time. So a trip to IKEA is required, and whilst up there, it would be criminal not to go to the Lego store and see all those September releases. Anyway, a completely different city update this week. I know there's been no Lego building, just the table, but getting Jabba's palace all destroyed, sorting the bricks, getting the Lego room ready for the city, I just ran out of time. But I thought it'd be worth letting you know my thoughts on what I have here already and what I'm thinking about for the future with the city. This coming week, we'll be back to building. So I hope you've enjoyed this update all the same. If you have, as always, if you could give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, it'd be much appreciated. It helps the channel to grow, and that helps others to find the channel. So please share with your family and friends. Thanks for walking by. See you next time. Bye for now.